can you do two things? One is tell us a little bit more about what it is that you're building, because it's fascinating. I think it's going to be valuable to the people that are listening. But before that, tell us also about like your first experiment with like building an app or a business with AI, because I'm sure it wasn't as successful as what you're doing now. But give us those two point of views. The first time that you built something experimenting with AI and building products, and then what you're building now.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to answer the second part first. So, first thing that I ever built was in something called Claude Artifacts. Honestly, I think I should show the response to this instead of answering it. Can I just pull up my computer real quick? I could
Do it.
explain this way better on screen share.
Let's roll. That's what we're doing today, man. Let's go into
Hell
it.
yeah. Great. Okay. So the first tool that I ever used, for the first tool that a lot of people used where they realized that they could actually do things with AI and code was Claude Artifacts. And so Claude is a ChatGPT competitor, and they created this Claude Artifacts feature. And so, for example, I could say um, a create a simple calculator app in Artifacts. And so Artifacts is this like side window that pops up in Claude. And by the way, I think this is a great way to just learn about front end design. And so you can see here, the code is generating here on the side, which was different than anything that came before it. Previously on ChatGPT, you could generate code, but if you're a non-coder, you don't even know where to put the code. It just generates, and you're like, "What's the big deal with code? Like, what does it even do?" But you see here, you can see how it rendered as a calculator, right?
Yeah.
And so now we have a calculator that should, in theory, work, right? 5 times 5. And so you can create these simple applications. So this is a very simple example. But like we could say, like, make it bigger and call it Riley's calculator. And this is when I realized we're entering this era of like personalized software and this is kind of the essence of vibe coding, right? You generate something and then you edit it, right? And now you have this, and you see it's just editing the code. Claude's getting a lot faster. It's getting a lot better. This is the new Claude 3.7 model, which is their state-of-the-art coding model. And you can kind of watch it generate and edit the code, and then it re-renders, and now it's making another edit, and you'll see it render again.
It's
And so
pretty
this was
it's pretty crazy just watching it happen in lifetime. Like it's figuring out the code in lifetime.
Yes. And they just released a new model where instead of having to regenerate the entire code files, it can directly just edit the code files. I don't even really know how it works, but like the point is you don't have to know how it works. The same way that you're using a camera right now to film the podcast, and maybe you're a camera nerd, but I have no idea how it's working. I just know cameras work and I can record a podcast and connect with people on the internet. Software is moving to the same in the same direction, which is the reason behind our whole thesis here, behind Vibe Code. And so Vibe Code, this is Vibe Code. I have it open on my phone, but I'm streaming it to the computer. And you asked me what it is. And all it is an app that lets us build mobile apps. So what I want to do first is like, we can just record our voice and please create an app that lets me record my voice and it converts it into a YouTube video outline with a hook, a introduction, and then outline the different body paragraphs, but like make it YouTube specific. So use the Whisper model to transcribe what I say and then convert it using AI and make it red and black.
You know what? Just as it's doing this, I think one of the things that I think it's just difficult when you're like first building something is like identifying a pain point. And it's actually kind of step one of the process, right? Which is identify a painful workflow and find a problem worth solving. And so in this example, it's like, okay, the problem worth solving is like, how do I produce great YouTube videos faster?
Yes.
And with what
Right.
you've just spoken into this app, it's now generating an actual product, an app, an idea, like
Yes.
something real that could solve that problem.
Totally. And by the way, this will actually take a while because this has two AI features So it's probably generating like 13 to 14 different code files, and the AI agent has to go through and generate everything. So this will take time. What I wanted to do really quickly is let's go to one of my favorite tools. And so this is one thing that I have just been doing more since ChatGPT came out is I've just become a really visual. I just rely on visuals all the time. How do I go home here on? Oh yeah, create new.
So
So
what
I
is this
use
tool you have open right now?
this is whimsical diagrams. There's other ones you could use Excalidraw, TL Draw, Miro. It doesn't matter. But I really like to diagram everything out because if you ever diagram something out, you could just give it to AI and it will understand what you're saying. And so I think diagrams are like, that's just how I think, right? And so like, let's try and come up with an idea for an app. One thing that um, I think would actually be kind of fun is just like converting a. Do you ever watch a YouTube video and it has like it's an educational YouTube video, but and you wish that like you could take whatever framework they're speaking about and turn it into an app? Maybe this is just me. Maybe this is not an actual real problem, but like you know who Patty Galloway is?
Yeah,
Patty Galloway is like a genius YouTube scripter or
like
strategist.
strategist, like growth
Yeah,
expert on YouTube.
yes, he's like a YouTube strategist, and I wanted to make an app that like, um, actually, you know what? That might be a good thing. Like, why don't we just take his philosophy and turn it into a mobile app? Because
Okay,
that was one thing that I wanted to do a while ago, or turn it into an app. Because the people's problem, right? When you get started on YouTube, the problem that people have, and so I always go like this, like I go problem, and then we will drag this down here, and then we have like ideal state. Right? The problem with people getting started with YouTube is they don't know, like, there's so many things you don't know. Like, you don't know how to organize all of your thoughts. And I think the central problem is like, you don't know what questions to ask yourself. And so, what if we created an app that asked you a question and then it used AI to ask you questions, and all you had to do was answer 5 questions, and then it wrote a script in the format of like Patty Galloway, you know?
So just quickly to jump in and add context.
Yes.
So Paddy Galloway, he helped like Mr. Beast grow his following. Obviously, Mr. Beast like the biggest YouTuber on the planet. And so the problem that you correctly like identified, Riley, is that people just lack experience. So you don't actually you're like creating videos and posting them because you don't have the experience because you just haven't been on YouTube that long. You don't know what the problem is. Like you don't know what you're missing. And so essentially what you're saying is, what if we actually created like an AI, like YouTube growth coach that basically took on the like experience, personality of Paddy Galloway, and now it's asking you questions and it's helping you through like your YouTube journey. Like that's a
Yeah,
product that people would pay for, which is basically what you just
absolutely.
identified in a few seconds.
100%. 100%. And this was just something I thought of last night, like when I was like trying to come up with some ideas for this episode. Well, I think it could be really interesting to create something like this. And I think this is an important theme for people. If you're watching this video and you work in consulting, if you work in like if you're a contractor or you help anyone achieve a specific goal, I think it's a great place to start because you can now take whatever's in your brain and you can convert it into software. And if you think of like what a ghostwriter does, or anyone, like if you were to hire Patty Galloway or hire a someone who writes content, what they're going to do is they're going to ask you a bunch of questions, right? Because they want to know what you're an expert on or what you have, you can establish some sort of credibility on something. And they're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and then they're going to take those questions and convert them into a script that will work based on their own expertise. Well, AI is actually can first of all it can ask you questions, and then you can respond, and it can dynamically ask you questions because it's AI generated based on what you've previously said. It's not deterministic, like it's not like a questionnaire that you would fill out, right? It can ask you questions dynamically, and AI will actually know what information it needs to gather from you, and then it can generate a script in that format. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And is the when you say dynamically, what you're saying, Riley, right, is that it's like it's personalized to you. So it's not
Right.
just a generic questionnaire that anyone, it's like made for you.
Right. And in here, we can do it through just prompting on ChatGPT. Look at this. So this is actually the best place to start. By the way, prompting is programming. There's this connotation around prompting in AI that it's like, oh, you're a prompt engineer. You're this like, it's pompous. It's like prompting is so easy. That is a psyop. That's fake. Prompting is so important. And not there are a lot of people on the internet who sell prompts or you use these prompts, but like the and that might be a scam. But the underlying ability and skill of prompting is probably the number one thing because it is the fundamental it's just being able to communicate your ideas effectively and then get an answer from a PhD level system, right? If you can formulate questions and formulate workflows through prompting, you are going to be a great vibe coder or engineer because you can take any prompting workflow and turn it into software for your company. Let me show you an example. So we can actually just turn on search the web here. And we could say, I want you to research. I
And
don't know why we're using.
this is in ChatGPT. This is in
This
Chat.
is in ChatGPT. Sorry, I moved kind of fast. I switched from ChatGPT to Claude because I know that more people watching this, I would say way more people have ChatGPT than Claude. So this is, and I'm not even going to use the O3 model. So even if you're on the plus tier, which is $20 a month, you will have access to this. And I don't know why we're choosing Patty Galloway as our guinea pig today, but that's fine. So I want you to research Patty Galloway um, and since we're searching the internet, we can just do that. And I want you to come up with questions to ask a user, right? To ask a user um, that would be useful for writing a script. So just list those questions here. And actually, I think it'll be cool. Let's throw in the O3 model and we'll search. And AI is now beginning to think. And I think not enough people truly understand the fact that AI is thinking now. And you can actually see the thinking steps. And so now he's saying, like, I think the user wants me to gather information about Patty Galloway, a YouTuber known for analyzing YouTube growth strategy. So one of the tools that O3 has is the ability to go out on the internet, find information, bring it back to the chat, right? And so now it's reasoning, and then it's going to literally think, now it's searching the web. So it reasoned. By the way, our YouTube app is done, but we can come back to that in a second.
Okay.
And so the point is like, you can create these workflows in ChatGPT and use them every day. And once they're super useful for you, that act of honing the craft and making it useful to you means it might be useful to someone else. At that moment, then turn it into an interface, right? And make it into an app and try and sell it. That I think is one of the most important things in the modern world, is just to use ChatGPT as a way to solve your own problems.
Okay, so if you enjoyed this episode, you're going to absolutely love what we did with this one right here. Click here.